Hey, welcome back to Hustle to Harmony. I'm your host, Johanna, and today we're talking about something that literally every woman entrepreneur asks me about: how to be more productive when you're already drowning in everything you have to do. Now, before we're going to jump in, I want to say something that might piss people off a little bit. The productivity advice that you have been getting is mostly garbage. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to give you what actually works. So let me guess, you have tried time blocking, you've downloaded apps, you've color-coded your calendar, and you wake up at 5 a.m. thinking this is the day that you're going to get ahead. And then by 10 a.m., you're already behind because somebody just needed 5 minutes, or your inbox exploded with urgent requests, or a project you plan to finish is still sitting there untouched while you're putting out fires. Here's the thing. If any of that sounded familiar, you do not have a productivity problem. You have 3 much bigger problems that nobody's talking about. And until you fix these things, there's no amount of time blocking or productivity hacks that's going to save you. Problem number 1 is that you're trying to manage time instead of managing your plate. Think about it like this. If you go to a buffet and you pile your plate so high you can barely carry it back to your table, what happens? You spend the whole meal stressed out, trying to eat everything before it gets cold, not really enjoying any of it. That's what you're doing with your schedule. You're trying to fit 40 hours of work into 24 hours of life and then wondering why you can't focus or get anything meaningful done. The solution is not better time management. We have to manage what's on our plate. I had a client who was working 80-hour weeks and felt constantly behind. Who wouldn't? When we did what I called a plate audit, we discovered that only 20% of her time was spent on things that only she could do. Just 20%. The other 80% was either work that belonged to someone else or work that didn't need to be done at all. So here's what you need to do. List everything you did last week. Down to the minutia, everything, even if you think it doesn't matter, okay? Then put each item in one of 3 categories. Category 1 is only I can do this. This is true executive level decisions and strategy. The second category is someone else can do this. These are all your tasks that can be delegated or automated. And the third one is, why am I doing this? Which is all the busy work that doesn't move the needle. And when I say move the needle, I mean move the needle towards your goals. What are you trying to gain? Okay? I can almost guarantee you that you will find at least 10 hours a week of stuff that either doesn't need to be done by you or doesn't need to be done at all. All right, problem number 2 is that your energy is going everywhere. You have to think of your energy like a phone battery, okay? You start the day at 100%. Open your eyes, 100%. Every single interruption, every time you switch from one thing to the next, every quick question, it drains your battery a teeny tiny little bit more, okay? If there's an urgent email you have to stop and get right away, take away 10%, right? There's a meeting that you weren't planning on, take away 15%. Somebody comes to you with only a problem you can solve, take away 20%. So by noon, you're running on 30% battery and you're trying to do your most important work because you handled everybody else's problems already. This is why you can't focus. Your brain is literally running on fumes. But here's the thing. 90% of what feels urgent isn't actually urgent. It just feels that way because we've been trained by everybody else and ourselves to treat everything like an emergency. Real emergencies are very rare. Manufactured emergencies are everywhere. If somebody had a meeting that absolutely had to happen today about a project launching in 6 weeks, it's not really urgent. If there's a team member who needs an answer right now about something that's been on their desk for 3 days, that's not urgent. You need to become absolutely ruthless about protecting your peak energy hours. If you're a morning person, mornings become sacred. Your phone off, doors closed, meetings are banned. If you're an afternoon person, that's when your important work happens. So track your energy levels every hour for 1 week, and then rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Notice when you feel the most alert, when you feel the most creative, when you feel the most capable. And then ask yourself, what would happen if I scheduled my most important work during these hours? I can guarantee you that you will accomplish more in 2 focused hours than you currently do in 8 scattered ones. Problem number 3, and this is a big one, you have what I call the hero complex. You're the person everyone calls when things need to get done. You swoop in to save projects. You fix problems. You make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Your reliability has gotten you this far, but it's also quietly sabotaging the next level of your success. If your team can't function without you, it's not leading. Every time you jump in to save the day, you're training your team, your employees, whomever, to depend on you. Could be family, could be friends. You're teaching them that they don't need to think. They don't need to solve problems. They don't need to step up because you'll always be there to handle it. And then you wonder why you can't delegate anything. The most successful entrepreneurs that I know are not the ones juggling all the balls. They're the ones who figured out which balls are made of rubber and are going to bounce back, and which ones are made of glass and will shatter if they're dropped. They let the rubber balls drop so they can catch the glass ones. Your job as a leader isn't to do everything perfectly. It's to make everything happen without touching it. So I want you to think really hard. What would happen if I stopped being a hero and started being a leader who develops other heroes? And what's the solution to all this? Systematic boundaries. You need to create systems that protect your time, your energy, and your sanity without relying on willpower alone. First, create office hours for interruptions. I'm available for questions from 2 to 3. Outside of that, unless it's a real emergency, it has to wait. Batch similar tasks. Instead of checking email 17 times a day, check it 3 times. Instead of taking random phone calls, have specific days for phone calls. And create decision-making frameworks for your team. Give them clear criteria for when they can make decisions without you. Most urgent questions aren't really asking for your expertise. They're asking for your permission to talk. A lot of times, people have lost the ability or never developed the ability for critical thinking. So if we put these systems in place that allow them to go out and find the answer and then come back, it helps develop the critical thinking. So we need less of you, which is what we're looking for, okay? And I need you to protect your peak energy hours. Like your success depends on it because it really, really does. You can't focus on growth when you're constantly dealing with other people's priorities. So hone in on when your peak energy hours are and protect them so you can build your business. When you have energy, you can actually focus. When you can focus, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, you stop creating fires that need to be put out all over the place. And I know this is not the sexy productivity advice anybody wants. Most people want to hear me recommend some app that's going to solve all their problems. But being productive doesn't mean we have to do things faster. We do the right things with the right energy and focus that they deserve. We're not getting more hours in a day. 24 is what you have. You need fewer things on your plate, better protection of your energy, and systems that let you lead instead of just reacting all the time. Your business does not need more of your time, but it needs you to be strategic about what time you do have that you give it. Try the plate audit that I mentioned. Track your energy for 1 week. Start creating those systematic boundaries, and remember, you're not trying to become a productivity machine. You're trying to build a business that supports your life. If you want to know what it's like to work with me, all the links to find me are in the show notes. Send me a message and we'll talk. All right, that's it for today's episode. I will see you next week.